Ladies and gents, welcome to Suju Reaction, and this is How Reddit Almost Crashed the Economy with a Meme by the channel Andrea Tarbea. I think that's the name. Yeah. So yeah, this is the it's a ridiculous thing about GameStop. I love this, man. Seriously, the hedge fund companies just got immensely screwed over by these normal people on Reddit. I love this. I mean, first of all, I trade in stock a bit. I'm not, I don't know much about details and analysis about stocks and how it can be manipulated. Well, I don't know about shorting a stock, which always I'm like, what the hell? How is this a thing? Which always just stumped me. Like, this is so ridiculous. First of all, the way stock goes up and down, it depends on how much people buy and how much people sell. Shorting a stock means selling a stock that you don't have. In the end, it's just lending. Somebody lends you a stock, you sell it, price falls down, you buy it again, give back to the original person, you get the profit in the middle. But in that way, if you sell a lot of stock that you don't own, why wouldn't you do that? You're gonna sell a lot of stock. If you do that in large scale, stock prices will go down because you just sold way many two stocks, and that is how the stock prices go down. So in the end, that is what they want. So they're gonna short sell a lot of stocks. Eventually stock will go down because you just sold lots of stocks, and obviously hedge fund companies can't do that at large scale. So in that way, they know for sure the stock is gonna fall because they just sold a lot of stocks they don't even own. So when the stock falls down, they're gonna buy back the stock, give back to the original people, and keep the profit. That is manipulating at whole another level, and this was happening throughout for years by hedge fund companies. And they try to do that with GameStop. And the people on Reddit just said, oh hell, and bought a lot of stocks. So in the end, they bought many stocks compared to how many were sold. So stock prices rose up because demand was high for buying, and now they have the stock, they are not selling. And the people who just sold the stock, they are on the meter. They have to give the original stock back. Otherwise, it's just, interest goes high, things like that. So they lost a lot of money. I love this. I hope in the future, whenever some hedge fund company tries to do this, these Reddit guys come back again doing this. Because this is the only way to stop the hedge fund companies manipulating market like that. So yeah, let's watch this one.
There's been so much conversation around the GameStop situation over the past few weeks. I mean, even in Romania, where I live, media publications have covered what happened with this insane battle between Reddit users and giant Wall Street hedge funds. If you go on a bus, it's very likely you'll overhear people talking about it. And it's something you've never seen before. Up to just a few weeks ago, you could never even possibly fathom a bunch of regular guys in their underwear banding together and sticking it to the man at such a level. It was so insane and so oddly satisfying. Now, over the course of this video, as we touch on financial terms and talk about the stock market, I have to make it very clear that I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm by no means an expert in the matter. I'm simply voicing my opinions on a topic that I find really fascinating. Now, if I were to put everything that happened into a single sentence, it would be that institutions that have historically manipulated the stock market for hundreds of years got a little too greedy, and when Reddit users saw a chink in their armor, they put their collective weight to work in a way that literally squeezed the hedge funds against the wall and made them lose billions of dollars in the process. Here's why and how all of this happened.
Alright, first of all, I love how Reddit can do this. I knew 4chan is probably at that level. It's not just talk. People go into the forum, talk about it. It's not just talk, they actually do action. 4chan is scary. But I love to see how Reddit can do it too. It's not just talk. People like, let's buy all the stock, and people not like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. No, people actually bought the stock. This was so awesome.
To some extent, everybody knows what the stock market is. It's not really rocket science. It's where public companies share a part of their valuation, which investors can buy and sell small pieces of. And based on the supply and demand, the price of one share goes up and down in value. The idea is for people to support companies they believe in and give them money so they can grow their operations while making a profit themselves along the way. The stock market should, at least in theory, represent the epitome of meritocracy. Because if a company does well, its market cap grows. If it shows a lack of vision or failure fails to bring in good results, it then tanks. But by this point, I don't think anyone truly believes it's meritocracy that drives the stock market when you have billionaires and hedge funds out there manipulating the market with huge capital. I mean, if you just Google top 10 hedge funds, it's right there in plain sight. Davidson Kempner Capital Management, $33 billion in assets under management. Citadel Advisors, $29 billion. Elliott Management, $73 billion. Man Group. I mean, talk about a little creativity here. These guys literally call themselves the Man Group. They've been on the market since 1784 and they have over $117 billion in assets under management. So when you see these mammoths dominating the market for literally hundreds of years, it should at the very least put a question mark in your mind as to whether you're really on the same boat as them in terms of influencing the market. Historically speaking, if these guys have not approved of a particular company, they've had the leverage to sink its valuation all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. The way they do that is by short selling a stock. For example, Tesla is a classic example of this. In a world of internal combustion engines, where a few select companies have been running the industry for over a century, when Elon Musk sprang on the scene with his electric car, it completely turned the automobile market on its head. So what did the hedge funds do? They weren't just gonna accept some new kid on the block putting a halt to their arrangements. They started short selling Tesla stock. In other words, they bet against Tesla. Contrary to buying shares in a company, thus driving its price up, short selling is like putting a stack of bricks on the price, keeping it low, and the lower it goes.
They did that to Tesla? I didn't know that. Damn. Look at that. Elon Musk, richest guy today. He just a few weeks ago, he became the richest guy today. They tried to suppress Elon Musk by doing that. Obviously, when somebody really smart with great, innovative mind comes around, you can't really push him down. Eventually, he will rise up. So that's what happened. But I can't believe they tried to do that to him. Look, here's what I'm thinking. Short selling should not be a thing. There should be a ban on it. You should only buy and sell your own stock. There shouldn't be, lending a stock and things like that. There shouldn't be, the things like this. Because this is ridiculous. They are selling the stocks they don't have so they could do it at large amounts. And by doing large amounts, selling those many stocks, stock prices go down because you just sold a lot of stocks. So that's what they want in the first place. So when the stock goes down, they're going to buy it back and give to the original. That's so manipulating so badly. I don't know how that's a thing. I mean, it should be banned, I think. Clearly, it's not because these people have money and they pay lots of people who make the law. So this is not going to happen. So yeah, this is just after. But I love how Reddit did this. I hope they keep doing that.
You earn more money as the company values less. The only reason it didn't work with Tesla is because no matter what you do to postpone it, you can't stop innovation. But for many other companies, short sellers often have the power to keep the stock price exactly where they want it. Now, does that sound fair to you? Because that doesn't resemble meritocracy to me. It just sounds like a bunch of billionaires sitting around with cigars in their mouths, deciding who to let in and who to keep out of their fancy exclusive club. Historically, there hasn't been much that you could do about it though, until the internet started to get a little wiser. In 2013, this guy right here, Vlad Tenev, founded a company called Robinhood. The mission of the app, much like its name indicates, was to break barriers and allow the little guy to trade, even if all they had was $20. The slogan of Robinhood was literally, let the people trade. Much like the character of Robinhood, steal from the rich, give to the poor. This new platform revolutionized investing by allowing commission-free stock trading, thus bringing in a huge wave of inexperienced but eager young investors to which the stock market had been inaccessible before. And probably one of the most fascinating places on the internet to sprout as a direct result of this was the subreddit r/Wall Street Bets.
I love that image, the art that they created for Wall Street Bets.
Stepping into that world will plunge you into a real-life version of the Wolf of Wall Street, except 1,000 times crazier. If the regular stock market trader takes time to analyze the market, researches stocks, and invests steadily across decades of their life, responsibly planning for their retirement, the average Wall Street Bets investor has $100 and wants to turn it into $1 million.
Fuck
fast.
Yeah.
These guys have
I love that. Here's $100, give me $1 million.
nothing to lose. They call themselves degenerates, and their catchphrase is YOLO. They don't buy stocks, but instead use high leverage tactics in hope of seeing big juicy gains overnight, which have a tendency to not pan out. Granted, there's a few success stories on the subreddit, such as user SnakePerson123 putting in $800 and making $115,000, but then there's also users like 22 Yards who is down—
What the fuck? How did he put $100 and make $115,000? Damn!
and making $115,000. But then there's also users like 22 Yards who is down $33,000 after betting in the wrong direction. He goes, how do I fix this? And this other guy responds with, take a green Sharpie and draw a jagged line towards the upper right hand corner of the
There
screen.
you go. Welcome to
Wall Street
Reddit.
Bets has already had a history of controversial episodes and have often been cited on news stations as irresponsible trolls with no respect for the stock market. But what happened in January took their profile to a completely new level.
No respect for stock market.
So
Hedge fund companies don't either.
About Robinhood and the rise of Wall Street Bets, but the way they all come together is through GameStop. I know a lot of viewers on this channel don't live in the United States, so there's a big chance you're not familiar with GameStop. But in America, for every kid born in the late 80s, early 90s, GameStop was a big part of their childhood. It was the biggest brick-and-mortar video game retailer, eventually spreading even across Canada, Australia, and Europe. But just like Netflix killed Blockbuster, online video game purchases made GameStop pretty irrelevant. And seeing how the GameStop business model was losing popularity, the Wall Street hedge funds, like the vultures that they are, started heavily short-selling GameStop on the stock market. So one day, a Reddit user on Wall Street Bets by the name of Senior Hedgehog pointed out how 84% of shares were short, meaning there was 5 times more power driving the stock down than there were people organically supporting the company. And mind you, this was posted in April of 2020. By January of 2021, the short interest percentage was over 140%, which means more shares were being shorted than there were actual shares in circulation. This was a paradox that showed how greedy the hedge funds had become. And by being greedy, they had become vulnerable. And this time, Reddit was ready to teach them a lesson. When you short a stock, what that means essentially is that you lend someone else one share at the current price, let's say $10, and when the price goes down, let's say to $7, you buy it right back, keeping the $3 difference as profit. But the risk here is that once you've lent out the share, if the stock goes up to say $15, not only do you not make any profit, but you now have to pay the $5 difference. And again, 140% of GameStop shares were being lent out, which is about 90 million shares. So Reddit users coordinated to go on the Robinhood app and collectively bought GameStop stock at insane volumes, driving the price from around $19 at the start of January to a whopping $480 at the highest peak.
That is ridiculous.
Called a short squeeze, and it's not an uncommon tactic on Wall Street, but never before has it been put into practice by regular people coming together on the internet. The hedge funds got a mouthful of their own medicine, and it was bitter. The 90 million shares they had lent out at $5 to $10 now had to be bought back at 50 to 100 times the original price. According to Fortune.com, by January the 29th, the losses had risen to 19.75.
I love how companies, hedge companies, things like that, people are constantly bitching, those billionaires. Like, you can't do this, this and that. They went on the news channels and bitch about that. Asshole, you used to do that for decades. You do this every single time. Now it happens to you, you're gonna bitch. This is so bad, and I love how it happens to those people. They lost billions, look at that. 20 billion they lost. I love that. F you, seriously.
$5 billion. Hedge funds had to be bailed out so as to not go bankrupt. Investment bank Goldman Sachs warned that the entire stock market could crash if Reddit users didn't sell their shares in order to drive the stock price back to its original spot. And as all of this madness was unfolding, the biggest promoter of giving power to the people, Robinhood, decided to restrict users from buying more GameStop stock while still allowing them to sell their current shares, thus showing a clear bias in favor of the big institutions. Now, of course, liquidity played a big role in this decision, Robinhood themselves requiring a cash injection of $2.4 billion to stay in business, but to Reddit, this gesture was seen as the ultimate betrayal. The brand of Robinhood was expected to stand exactly for what Wall Street Bets had managed to accomplish, stealing from the rich and empowering the little guy. Instead, the app was seemingly siding with the hedge funds, and so Vlad Tenev instantly became a villain in the eyes of the people. A lot of people even started wondering if Robinhood didn't shut down trading at the behest of the Wall Street big suits. There's currently lawsuits being thrown about, in my opinion, with high chances of doing serious damage to Robinhood. And Vlad Tenev himself is set to testify before a US House committee on the 18th of February. In fact, by the time you're watching this, that may have already happened. As of me working on this video, there's more confusion than we have any clear answers. One thing we know is that GameStop stock seems to have returned back down close to its original.
Yeah, if hedge companies bought him out, then those same companies are gonna make sure that nothing happens to him. They're gonna pay out right people, so he doesn't found out guilty or something.
original price, but what happened here is certainly set to change the course of the global financial world. Once regular people realize that together they wield a considerable amount of power against these billion-dollar institutions, that's a genie that you can never shove back in the bottle. It's a fascinating story that I'm sure people will revisit for years to come, and it's very likely that things will never be the same after this. In what way exactly? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this entire debacle. Did you take part in the games?
Yeah, this, short selling is just effed up. It should be banned. It shouldn't happen. But I love how simple, average common people screwed with this, hedge companies. I didn't know they tried to screw Tesla. I mean, how many countries they tried to screw over? How many companies, had great potential but couldn't go up because, these hedge fund assholes, screwed with the company's stocks. I mean, this is bad, man. Short selling a stock, so stock falls eventually and you make profit, and eventually average people and company takes the massive hit and they have the money. Short selling should not be a thing. It should be banned. That's what I think. This was just effed up. This was a great video. I love this. This is a big channel, apparently near 3 million subscribers. Yeah, this is a great detailed video. Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast for all the playlists. Check out the end cards, and yeah, I'll see you next time.